Hi, my name is Shauna Getterman, and I'm so excited to be here today to teach you how to make a GIF. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I teach VPK all the way to 8th grade, so it's a lot of different ages. And the first thing with a GIF is I use the app Procreate and an Apple Pencil. Now, Procreate isn't the same if it's on a phone, so I use the iPad for it. And the Apple Pencil really helps you get a lot of details. Now, the reason I started making a GIF is because it shows the entire process of a project in about 5 seconds. So it shows each layer at the beginning, what it will look like in the middle, and what it will look like in the end. GIFs that you're gonna make today are a pattern and also a moving color reel. So let's get ready to create. Go to the plus button and then click on square, and it is going to give you a square canvas that you could work on. You can choose the color by going into the circle on the top right. I'm going to choose black because I'm doing a lot of lines. And you could also adjust your line thickness by moving the bar on the left. We are going to make one row of bumpy lines. When you're finished with this one row of bumpy lines, you're going to go to the corner where it has two squares and you'll click on it, click on layer 1 and duplicate it. And then you're going to add a second row of bumpy lines and you're going to repeat the process. You'll go back to the two squares when you're finished, click on duplicate, and make a new layer. You'll continue this process until you have bumpy lines throughout this square. I'm going to keep duplicating the layers and make the pattern more detailed. So this way my students can see the process of how I make the patterns so they can follow along and create their own patterns. I'm going to fill in the little dots here with the pen tool, and I'm going to keep repeating this step for each row. So when I'm done with this row, I will go ahead and duplicate it, and then go ahead and repeat the steps on the next row. Now you're ready to animate. You're going to go to the toolbox, click on Animation Assist, and then click on Settings. Adjust your frames per setting. I like to do around 6 frames per second. Then press play and you've made your first GIF. Experiment with your different options in the settings. You could make it slower, you could make it faster, you could make it ping pong back and forth. It's really up to you. You're ready to save your first GIF. You're going to go into the toolbox and click on Share. And then on the bottom you can click on Animated GIF and Export. Save it to your camera roll, and now you can add it to your Google Slides, Google Classroom, wherever you want. Have fun creating. Open Procreate, then click the plus button in the top right corner and click on Square. This will open up a square page. Okay, I'm going to go into Canvas and click on the drawing guide and then edit the drawing guide. Now when I'm in there, it gives me a choice of different guides. So I can choose from 2D grid, isometric,
perspective, or symmetry. And within symmetry, you could do radial symmetry, a whole bunch of options. But I'm going to do the isometric grid because when I make my color wheel, I want all my sections to be an equal size. And having that grid in the background really makes it easier for me, so I don't have to figure out the math on my own. It's already there. There are so many different brushes you can use in Procreate. So sometimes if I want to use a pastel background, I can find an oil pastel brush that I can use. But usually for my inking, I just go to inking and then choose a fine tip. That way my brush size is usually the same for everything. Drawing a perfect circle is pretty easy. You draw your circle and hold it down for a second and it makes it a circle. If it's too oval looking, if you take your finger and you place it somewhere on the page, it then transforms your circle into a perfect proportioned circle. I'm going to move it over a little bit so it's right on top of my grid. That way when I make my intersecting lines for the color wheel, it will be absolutely perfect. Go into layers so you can duplicate your circle. That way you just have an extra perfect circle in case you need that for later on. To draw a straight line, I just go ahead and draw any crazy line, and if you hold it down at the end a little bit with your finger, it makes it straight. So you can see each line starts out a bit wobbly looking, and then I hold it down for a few seconds, and then it just becomes straight. I'm going to go into the layers and duplicate this layer again, also because I just like having an extra layer in case I need it to go back or fix something. Adding color is so easy. I'm going to click on that circle button and then I can choose the palette and I'm going to click on the yellow. And all I need to do is drag the yellow with my finger into the box. Now I'm going to do red and then blue, and so I have my primary colors on my color wheel. And now I'm going to add my secondary colors to the color wheel. Go ahead and duplicate the color wheel by just making a new layer. Now you're going to learn how to rotate your color wheel. You'll click the arrow on the top bar, and that's going to highlight your color wheel. Then you'll choose uniform, and you'll get a couple of options. You'll want to make sure the magnetics are on, and then change your distance to 6. This way, every time you make a different layer, it's going to turn it in the exact same measurement, and it'll make it a lot easier to make your GIF look very fluid. Now you're going to learn how to rotate your color wheel. You're going to click on the green dot, and you're going to turn it twice. Because we have the magnetics on and we adjusted the distance, the increments of rotation will always be the same. We're going to repeat this step a few times of creating a new layer of the color wheel, duplicating it, and then rotating it twice in the same direction. Background transparent, you're going to go to the background color and you're going to click off that box and also click off the first 2 layers, which were just the outlines of the circle. We're ready to animate our GIF now. You're going to go into the canvas button and click on the animation assist. And then you can go into the settings and kind of choose what frames you want per second, if you want it to be really fast or really slow. And I can see by my color wheel that I missed one layer of a color because it's not rotating very smoothly. It keeps jumping. So I'm just going to go back into my layers and add another layer to my color wheel, and then it should work perfectly. Experiment with the frames per second to see how fast you want your color wheel to go or how slow you want it to go. Now I'm ready to save my GIF. I'm going to go to the Tool button and click on Share, and it's going to give me a choice at the bottom to go to the animated GIF. Then I can just say Export, and it's going to save it to my camera roll. Now I'm ready to share it on my Google Classroom, on slides, whatever I want. I can't wait to see all of your GIFs. Please tag me on Twitter or Instagram at Shoshiart and share all of your wonderful work.